This chapter tells us about a very busy and troublesome time in Katy's life. Even though she had decided to behave better, she again got into trouble very soon, especially on a Monday. At the car house, Mondays were always difficult days. There was a lot of washing to do, and Aunt Izzy became strict and easily annoyed. The servants were also in a bad mood. The children, after a calm Sunday, became very energetic and naughty. Because of this, many problems happened. The chapter first describes how Sundays were spent. On Saturday night, Clover and Elsie had their hair curled using paper and pins. Elsie's hair curled easily, but Clover's hair was thick and straight, so it hurt her a lot. She could not sleep comfortably and often had bad dreams. Because of this, Clover hated curls and always imagined princesses with straight hair in her stories. Sunday mornings began with Bible stories and breakfast. Then the children studied their lessons and went to church in a big old building. During church, the children got bored. Their feet would go numb because they could not touch the floor. They would secretly whisper when they sat down. Aunt Izzy tried to control them, but it was hard, especially because the little ones were sleepy. After church, they went to Sunday school and then came home for a fixed meal. In the afternoon, Katy made the children listen to her homemade paper called The Sunday Visitor. It included moral lessons, stories, and poems. However, the children did not enjoy it because it was boring and sometimes Katy criticized them in it. They became especially annoyed when Katy kept reading old editions again and again. Finally, Clover and Elsie secretly burned the paper in the kitchen fire. They felt both scared and happy but did not admit their mistake. Katy suspected them and became angry. Sunday evenings were happier. The children sang hymns and enjoyed choosing their favorite ones. Overall, Sunday was peaceful, but because it was so quiet, the children became extra energetic on Monday. This particular Monday was rainy, so the children could not play outside. They became very restless indoors. Philly was sick and was given a medicine called elixir. The children disliked it because it looked dark and unpleasant. Soon, the children started playing and pretending their dolls were sick too. John called Johnny decided that her wooden chair, Pikey, was her baby. She wanted to give it medicine like Philly. She secretly took the elixir bottle and poured the medicine on the chair. Just then Aunt Izzy came and saw the mess on the carpet. She became very angry, scolded Johnny, and cleaned everything. She complained that Mondays always brought trouble. Later that day, another problem happened. The children accidentally locked themselves inside the nursery and could not open the door. They became scared and started screaming. Aunt Izzy tried to calm them, and a servant named Alexander came with a ladder and rescued them through the window. The children quickly forgot their fear and even felt proud of the adventure, but Aunt Izzy scolded them again and warned them about being careless. Meanwhile, Katy was sitting in the library reading a book called Jerusalem Delivered. She loved reading and often became so absorbed that she did not notice anything around her. Aunt Izzy later told Katy that she was going out and gave her instructions to take care of the children and send Sassy home early. At first, everything went well. But later, the children started talking about an old game called Kikeri. This game was played in the dark, where one child had to find the others. It was exciting but dangerous, and Aunt Izzy had forbidden it earlier because it caused injuries and damage. However, the children decided to play it again, thinking that Papa had not forbidden it. They all joined, even the younger ones. The game became very wild and fun. Some children got hurt and things were broken, but they did not stop. Suddenly, Aunt Izzy returned home earlier than expected. This caused great panic. Ceci ran away quickly to her house. Katy selfishly ran to her room and went to bed to avoid trouble. The other children struggled to hide. Clover pretended to pray to avoid punishment, which was even worse than the actual mistake. Aunt Izzy soon discovered everything. She scolded Clover and punished John and Dory, who were pretending to sleep while still half dressed. Elsie was found asleep under the bed and escaped punishment because she was too deeply asleep. Katy, however, felt very guilty. She knew she had set a bad example and caused trouble for everyone. She cried a lot, not just because of scolding, but because she felt ashamed of herself. The next day, drive. Ka spoke seriously to Katy. He reminded her of her dying mother's wish that she should take care of the younger children like a mother. This made Katy very emotional, and she cried deeply. This moment changed her, and she decided to become more responsible. Finally, drive. Ka strictly ordered that the game, Kikiri, should never be played again. Because he really forbade anything, the children took this seriously and never played the game again. Now let's revise me points for MCQS. Mondays were always troublesome in the car house. Clover suffered because of hair culling papers. Sunday routine included church, lessons, and Katy's Sunday visitor. Clover and Elsie burned the paper secretly. Johnny gave medicine to a chair pikri. Children got locked in the nursery and were rescued. Katy loved reading and ignored surroundings. Aunt Izzy went out and left Katy in charge. Children played forbidden game, Kikiri. Aunt Izzy caught them and punished them. Katy felt guilty and cried. Dr. Carr advised Katy to be responsible. Kikiri was permanently banned. Let's learn some short questions and answers. Q1. On which day did Katy get into trouble again? On Monday. Q2. Why were Mondays difficult at the car house? Because there was a big wash, and everyone was in a bad mood. Q3. Why were the children more naughty on Monday? Because Sunday was quiet, so they had extra energy. Q4. What happened on Saturday night to Clover and Elsie? Their hair was curled using papers and pins. Q5. Why did Clover hate curls? Because the pins hurt her and she could not sleep. Q6. What did the children do on Sunday morning? They listened to a Bible story and had breakfast. Q7. Where did the children go after breakfast? To church. Q8. Why did the children feel uncomfortable in church? Because their feet could not touch the floor. Q9. What was the Sunday visitor? A paper made by Katy with stories, poems, and lessons. Q10. Why did the children dislike it? Because it was boring and repeated. Q11. What did Clover and Elsie do to the paper? They burned it in the fire. Q12. Why could the children not play outside on Monday? Because it was raining. Q13. Who was sick and took medicine? Philly. Q14. What was the name of the medicine? Elixir. Q15. What did Johnny do with the medicine? She gave it to her wooden chair pikri. Q16. Why did Aunt Izzy scold Johnny? Because she wasted the medicine and made a mess. Q17. What problem happened with the nursery door? It got locked and children were stuck inside. Q18. Who rescued the children? Alexander, the hired man. Q19. How did he rescue them? By climbing through the window with a ladder. QBs. What book was Katy reading? Jerusalem Delivered. Q Why did Katy not hear Aunt Izzy calling her? Because she was deeply absorbed in reading. Q What instructions did Aunt Izzy give Katy? To take care of children and send Ceci home early. Q23. What kind of game was Kikeri? A game played in the dark like hide and seek. Q24. Why was Kikeri forbidden earlier? Because it caused injuries and broke things. Q25. Why did the children decide to play it again? Because they thought Papa had not forbidden it. Q26. What happened when Aunt Izzy returned? The children panicked. Q27. What did Ceci do? She ran home quickly. Q28. What did Katy do? She ran to her room and went to bed. Q29. What did Clover pretend to do? She pretended to pray. Q30. Why was Clover's act wrong? Because pretending to pray is worse than disobedience. Q31. Who were found sleeping with clothes on? John and Dory. Q32. Why was Elsie not punished? Because she was fast asleep. Q33. How did Katy feel after the incident? Guilty and unhappy. Q34. What to drive? Car remind Katy of a mother's wish to take care of younger children. Q35. What effect did this have on Katy? She felt very sorry and decided to improve. Q36. What to drive? Car finally forbid. Playing Kikeri. Q30. Did the children play Kikeri again? No, they never played it again.